What an amazing time to be talking to you about human rights, activism and social media. Now you may not have noticed, but this is the first time in human history that we've ever had a truly global protest movement. Every web-enabled country in the world able to act together in real time and with Wi-Fi and the net to stream it live to an iPhone near you. NGOs, activists, UN agencies, religious groups, individuals are all connecting at increasing speed. We're facing the prospect of another global financial crisis and possibly a major war in the Middle East. This seems to be hastening the take-up process. We'll talk about some of the challenges ahead soon, but first let's look at some ways geeks, activists and online communities are tackling challenges in the real world with amazing collaborations. Also, a look at music legend Peter Gabriel's work with Witness.org, who I work with often via Twitter. They help people record and publish their stories. Now, Witness in Swahili is ushahidi.
Imagine a way for people all over the world to tell the story of what was happening to them or around them during a disaster or emergency situation. It would need to be easy to use, something that almost anybody can do, and it would need to be deployable worldwide. And that's why we've created Ushahidi. Ushahidi is the Swahili word meaning testimony or witness. Born from the post-election violence in Kenya in 2008, Ushahidi kept Kenyans current on vital information and provided invaluable assistance to those providing relief. It was deployed in the Democratic Republic of Congo to monitor unrest. Al Jazeera used it to track violence in Gaza. It was used to help monitor the 2009 Indian elections and to help whether it's a simple text message from an SMS-capable phone, a photo or video from a smartphone, or a report submitted online. Ushahidi can gather information from any device with a digital data connection. After a report is submitted, it's posted in near real time to an interactive map that can be viewed on a computer or smartphone. But the most powerful feature Ushahidi offers is the ability to take the core application and deploy it yourself to suit your community's needs. Since Ushahidi is open source, anyone can improve the service in any way they see fit. Our growing community of developers are constantly at work improving Ushahidi to bring it to as many people as possible, including working to bring native applications to today's most popular mobile devices. With Ushahidi, it's easier than ever to get critical and timely information to those that need it most on a platform that almost anybody can use. That's Ushahidi.
Traveled to different countries and met people who'd been tortured, who'd watched members of their family killed in front of them. And it seemed that if they'd had cameras, there might be a better chance of doing something. And then the Rodney King incident happened in America.
That videotape really catalyzed an international dialogue about police brutality, and it put the Handycam on the map.
And at that point, it sort of clicked.
And that was the beginning of Witness.
My name's Sam Gregory, and I'm the program director at Witness. And Witness uses video and online technologies to promote human rights. Peter Gabriel had met all these activists as he traveled the world on the Amnesty tour. He met activists who would tell these incredible stories of what had happened to them, and he'd be like, well, why does no one know about this? And he had a small camera with him, and he would record some of those stories. What would happen if you gave those cameras to the human rights activists who choose to be in the wrong place at the right time? You know, they're placing themselves where the human rights abuses are taking place. And so we helped our partners not only by providing cameras, that was important, but also by teaching them how to film in really simple ways, teach them how to tell stories, and teach them how to tell stories that would have an impact on their audience and leave them wanting to do something. And what we see in the news is often these little sound bites of like someone weeping and you don't know why it happened. And the real power we've seen is that if you can help lift up the voice of the people who are closest to it, they'll tell you why things are going wrong and they'll tell you what the solutions they want are.
If you're a cat from another country, it'll be hard if you don't speak much English. If you're talking to the government or trying to get work or at school. And If you've got a disability, hardly anyone hears your voice. EDAC is about helping people have their voice. So come and join us. We'll train you on how to advocate for yourself.
Ask not what the Arab Spring can do for you. Ask what you can do for the Arab Spring. Their freedom is your freedom.
For several weeks now, we've been seeing thousands of people coming out onto the streets in Syria, asking for political reform, asking to the end to human rights abuses. The government has responded only with bullets. We've made a call to the international community, the governments across the world, to refer Syria to the International Criminal Court through the UN Security Council. We've called for an arms embargo, we've called for an asset freeze, and we've called for the Syrian government leaders to be held to account. Unfortunately, the response to this call has been very weak. On the other hand, the response from the people across the world to the petition that we've started asking for Syrian leaders to be held to account has met with an overwhelmingly positive response. We have already 150,000 people who've signed up to this petition. The Syrian government is sending tanks into residential areas. More than 600 people have died, thousands injured, missing, real risk of torture. We want you to join and ask the Syrian government to end killings, to stop human rights abuses, and to hold all those responsible to account. We need the Syrian government to promote and respect peaceful protest.
Here at the Herald Sun. My name's Amelia Harris. My colleague Anne and I have been down here since the early hours of this morning at City Square. Scenes have turned to chaos lately. The police have come in, broken up this protest. They are dragging these protesters out by the dozen. As you can see, it's completely chaotic. There are police from the Critical Incident Response Unit, the Riot Squad, people from uniform, even people with search and rescue gear on. Police are dragging these protesters out. As you can see, they're being held by their arms, their legs. We have been tweeting about this. We've been updating our website, but now things have just taken an absolute turn. All that stuff on
You're bottling this man! Stop being silly. Come on.
Coming to a head here. It's been an unbelievable day. Check out the Herald Sun website, our Twitter feed, and of course tomorrow's paper for the latest on this extraordinary event. Amelia Harris, Herald Sun Online.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has lost his appeal against extradition to Sweden. The two judges in the case said Assange should be sent there to be questioned over the alleged rape of one woman and the molestation of another in Stockholm last year. The 40-year-old has denied any wrongdoing and insists the case is politically motivated by those opposed to the work of his secret spilling organization.
No doubt there will be many attempts made to try and spin these proceedings as they occurred today, but they are merely technical.
Assange spent much of the past year under virtual house arrest at a supporter's country estate. It was not immediately clear if he would have the right to take his appeal to Britain's Supreme Court. Ed Donahue, The Associated Press.
And is it possible that the nation needs more teenagers to preserve homeland security? The Pentagon has just confirmed for the first time that foreign computer hackers were able to break into so many secret files it created the most serious breach ever. And Pierre Thomas has learned one of the surprising ways the U.S. plans to fight back.
Tonight, in fact, right now, the nation is under attack, not from tanks or missiles, but an invisible assault. with the U.S. being hit on all sides.
We're being scanned millions of times a day. There are attempted intrusions that happen thousands of times a day.
William Lynn is the 56-year-old Deputy Secretary of Defense. He's the man who has to worry about those 1,000 hack attempts a day.
Beyond the millions spent fighting this new war, the government is increasingly pinning its hopes on some unlikely recruits.
Meet the baby-faced warriors, the Green Berets in this new age war. America needs an estimated 20,000 to 30,000 young people skilled in hacking. A national competition was recently launched aimed at finding them. The targets, teenagers, some as young as 16. Michael Coppola won the first hacking competition by infiltrating the competition's computers and upping his score.
I'm told you got skills.
Well, what can I say? The young people have the interest in this technology. They have the passion.
Have they already started to try to recruit you?
The Navy, actually, they're looking to recruit me, but I didn't make a decision.
Have you ever snuck around some systems that you weren't supposed to be in?
No comment.
Already, hackers have tried to steal battlefield war plans, access secret weapons designs, and what is now being called the worst breach of military computers ever, hackers were able to compromise classified information from the command overseeing U.S. war operations in Iraq and Afghanistan.
It was an important moment. It I think, changed our understanding of the threat.
The U.S. wants to act fast. The Chinese have already amassed a force of young hackers, and some at this very moment are preparing. The war force for the 21st century. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.
I'll look forward to your questions in a moment or two. Now, I haven't even touched on the activist work of Anonymous, great risks there with no reward, or the changing balance of power where we are the media and mainstream is under siege, or maybe that should be occupation. Activism, human rights and social media are set to dominate university and general life here in Perth and around the world for the foreseeable future. Social media and other online sources are rivaling mainstream media for attention at a time when another major economic meltdown and a major war in the Middle East are looming, within months perhaps. I hope my perspective as a journalist, activist, educator and social media practitioner will help you join the dots. The convergence of global social media connections with disasters and conflict reporting and response has seen history being made. Many governments and mainstream media are still playing catch-up as Twitter, Facebook and YouTube connect the dots for a revolution or two.